Welcome to Saturdays with Sir Rolland, your weekly training guild on how to slay the dragons of vice with the weapons of virtue. Here's your guild master, the author of the 7 Deadly Dragons book series, and faithful knight to the one true light, Sir Rolland Paterlot.
Greetings, young squires, maidens, moms, and dads. Today's the 14th day in the 3rd month in the year of our Lord 2026, and it's a great day to learn the art of dragon slaying. I hope you're having a fantastic Lenten season. We're now over halfway through this holy season of Lent, and this week in our read-along we read the Green Dragon of Greed book. Lent is a great opportunity to grow in the virtue of generosity and to give alms. And I hope you're doing your Dragon Slayer's Lenten challenges and finding ways to share your gifts and talents with the world by practicing the works of mercy. Speaking of gifts, our team here at Extraordinary Mission grew this week. Our mission director, Sir Hayden, and our shipping specialist, Lady Jessica, welcomed their first child into the world last Saturday, young baby Xavier. Now, me and Topher were really pushing for the name Roland Topher, but Xavier is a pretty awesome name too. Little Xavier came a month early, but everyone's doing well. We do ask for your prayers that Lady Jessica and baby Xavier grow strong and healthy. And maybe say a prayer for me and Topher too. We still have my wife, Lady Melissa, here trying to keep us in order. But being down 2 people in the middle of retreat season during Lent will be a challenge for our little team. Still, by God's grace, we will keep fighting the good fight here at Extraordinary Mission. Today on the podcast, I'm going to discuss 2 works of mercy that can especially help us slay the Green Dragon of Greed. The corporal work of mercy for today is to shelter the homeless. Shelter is a primary human need, just like water, which we talked about last week. And just like clean drinking water, many of us can take for granted that we have a warm and safe home to return to each day. Now, clean is a relative term, especially when there's lots of kids in the house. I've often referred to my 5 kids as an F5, as in an F5 tornado that can destroy any room in its path. That description fit best when they were little. Now most of them are teenagers, and Lady Lumina is the only one who still pulls out toys and games. Yet somehow she manages to maintain the F5 rating all by herself. Actually, I'm just kidding. Her brother helps quite a bit. But all jokes aside, while many of our homes are messy because they're covered with extra toys and clothes, over 300 million people in the world don't even have a home, and nearly 3 billion people lack adequate housing. Imagine the fear, anxiety, and discomfort of not knowing where you're going to sleep each night. Imagine never feeling truly safe or protected while you sleep. Last week, I mentioned that many Christian organizations dedicate their missions to relieving hunger and thirst and homelessness around the globe. One ministry that my family's been a part of for the last 14 years is called Unbound. Unbound was started by lay Catholics in the United States and helps people in poverty around the world. Through their program, you sponsor a specific person. You can see their picture and exchange letters and videos and even visit them someday. Right now, my family's sponsored friend is a 16-year-old boy named Derek from Uganda. One reason we chose Derek is because he shares the same birthday as our oldest daughter, Isabel. Derek lives with his dad and siblings, 4 people in the home. The walls are made from bricks and mud, the roof is metal sheets, and the floor is dirt covered with grass. There's no electricity, and they cook over an open fire. They get their water from a well. Derek sleeps on the floor on a mattress with blankets. Their home was damaged in an earthquake and is unstable, and medical facilities are more than a 5-mile walk away, and they're difficult to access. And yet, Derek writes us letters saying he is happy and healthy and grateful for the support that allows him to attend school, and one day he hopes to become a doctor. Perhaps, if your family's been blessed, you could consider sponsoring someone like Derek. But we don't have to look on the other side of the world to find poverty and homelessness. There's many local organizations in your community, I'm sure, that provide food and clothing and shelter to those in need. Sometimes sheltering the homeless can be even simpler than that. Maybe it means opening your home to someone going through a transition or offering hospitality to a traveler. Over the years, dozens of people have given me shelter. When I was in college, I often stayed in my college town during the summer to work, but there were no dorms open and no place for me to stay, so several of my friends welcomed me into their homes for the summer months. Then in 2012, my first book, Ordinary Lives, Extraordinary Mission, was released through the Dynamic Catholic Book Program. Over 250,000 copies were distributed through parishes that handed out the books at Christmas and Easter. That's one way to sell a lot of books. You just give them away for free, though I'm told at least a few people actually read the book. And because of that book, I received hundreds of invitations to travel across the United States to give parish missions and school talks. At the time, my kids were little, and I have to admit something. I'm not a big traveler. Getting on airplanes by myself, flying to places I'd never been, and being away from my wife and children was often very lonely and difficult. But everywhere I went, someone welcomed me. Many families allowed me to stay in their homes for the week. I still missed my family, but I'll never forget the hospitality and kindness of people I had never met who opened their homes to me when I was far from my own. So here's a question for you. How can your family shelter the homeless? Now let's move on to the spiritual work of mercy for today, which is instructing the ignorant. This work of mercy might sound a little harsh. The word ignorant feels negative to our ears. But ignorance simply means a lack of knowledge, education, or awareness. Many people simply don't know who Jesus is. Others don't understand the beauty of the faith or the incredible things Jesus has done for us. As Christians, we have something amazing to share with the world. We know the cure for their dragon wounds. We know the secret to true happiness. We know what the human heart is searching for. We know the cure for death and the medicine of immortality. Our mission is not only to tell people about Jesus and the Catholic faith, but to inspire them to live it. That mission is called evangelization, or in the language of the works of mercy, instructing the ignorant. Now, this must be done wisely. It's a little like the doctor analogy we talked about before when we were talking about admonishing the sinner. You need the right medicine, and the truth of Jesus and the Catholic faith is the cure. But you also need the right bedside manner. You have to share the good news with joy and love and passion. Have you ever listened to a really boring, monotone teacher? Even if the information is important, if the teacher is dull or harsh, it's hard to learn anything. That's why instructing the ignorant isn't just about giving information, it's about giving inspiration. People need to be inspired to slay dragons, to save souls, to embrace the adventure, to become saints. I hope this podcast inspires you to do exactly that. But Jesus also warned us that not everyone will be open to the gospel. No matter how hard we try, we can't force people to fall in love with God. After speaking to tens of thousands of people each year, despite being an introvert who's honestly terrified of public speaking, I've noticed there are three kinds of audiences. And here I borrow from one of my favorite authors, J.R.R. Tolkien. First, there are the elves. Elves think they already know everything. They might complain that I didn't quote the Summa Theologica for their second grader because this Dragon Slayer stuff is beneath their intellectual level. Well, honestly, they probably don't need my help learning the faith. They might need a little help slaying the red dragon of pride, learning to serve others instead of expecting everyone else to serve them. And then second, there's the orcs. Orcs have hearts that are completely closed. They don't want to hear about God or Jesus and have absolutely no interest in the Catholic faith. You can't inspire someone who doesn't want to be inspired. But then there are the hobbits. Hobbits are ordinary folk. They love the comforts of home. They're happy living simple lives in their quiet little shire. But sometimes hobbits need someone to invite them on an adventure. They need someone to inspire them to look deep inside, find their courage, and go out to face the dragon. And when they accept that invitation, they often surprise themselves and the whole world, because ordinary hobbits can do extraordinary things through God's grace. Those are the people I want to inspire. So how about you? How can you instruct the ignorant? How can you inspire someone to slay dragons, save souls, and become saints? This week, think about how God might be calling your family to practice these two works of mercy, sheltering the homeless and instructing the ignorant. And until next week, I'll leave you under the protection of St. Michael the Great Archangel, St. Joseph the Terror of Dragons, and Mary, Queen of the Angels, Our Lady of Grace, and the woman whose seed crushed the head of the dragon.
Hey everybody, Sir Topher here. Roland, I love the analogy of the elves, the orcs, and the hobbits. And if I'm being honest, I think I can be all three sometimes. Sometimes I can have that pride of thinking, I know God and I know the faith. Other times my heart can be closed to what God is really asking of me. and I don't want to listen or trust. And sometimes I'm like a hobbit who forgets I'm on an adventure for Jesus and starts looking for the comforts of the world. But thankfully, we have the good Father who calls us back into the adventure and helps us become dragon slayers. All right, for those of you who enjoy stories and writing, our friends over at Legend Haven are hosting a writing contest about the heroic stories and lives of the saints, the legendary dragon slayers of ages past. The contest ends on Easter Day 2026, and if you win, you could have a chance to be featured in your very own book. I'll share more information about the contest in this week's Training Guild email. And until next week, stay holy and slay dragons!